Down with this sort of thing. Careful now.
What is up everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be looking at 5 players you should consider ahead of Game Week 23. I also want to state that I've decided to look at some differential options for this week, as most of the obvious players such as Odegaard, Matoma and KDB have already been discussed at length. I would prioritise bringing in these players this week, but if you're looking for some differential assets for the upcoming game week, then we will be taking a look at some in this video. If you do find this video helpful, then please do drop it a like, subscribe to the channel and comment down below what your plans are for Game Week 23. Also make sure to follow me on Twitter at fplfatherted, and without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off this week's transfer tips video, we have Nathan Ake as one of my top picks for this week. Following Cancelo's departure from City in the January transfer window, there is now less competition for spots in City's back line. Whilst it is always hard to predict the City lineup due to Pep roulette, Ake has been getting consistent minutes this season. For example, Ake has played 90 minutes in 5 of City's last 6 games. That's more than any other City defender this season. Pep also stated in a recent press conference that Ake can't play all games, which to me translates to Ake will most likely play most games and is City's most nailed defender. FPL Review has also predicted Ake to get the most minutes out of City's defensive line over the next 5 game weeks. If you're looking to move out Shaw ahead of the upcoming blank Game Week 25, then I'm definitely a fan of moving out for Ake. Second player which I believe is a good option to consider with a particular focus on the next 3 to 4 game weeks is Wolves' Ruben Neves. At only 5.4 million and with Southampton, Bournemouth and Fulham as the next 3 fixtures, Neves could be an extremely interesting option. With Almiron's form having dropped off so dramatically, managers will be looking to move him out. Whilst Matoma is the obvious replacement for Almiron, due to Brighton's blank Game Week 25, managers may want to avoid him in order to prevent a headache in the coming game weeks. Neves is also Wolves' top scorer with 5 goals and has the highest XG with an XG of 3.5. It is important to mention that Wolves are bottom of the league in terms of goals scored this season, so that may be a major red flag which would put people off going for a Wolves attacker. Nevertheless, I believe it could be an interesting differential with a good set of fixtures and no blank Game Week 25. Moving on to the third player in this video, we have Riyad Mahrez as the second City player to consider ahead of their double Game Week 23. As I stated in the intro, the obvious City player to bring in this week is KDB, as Bruno to KDB is the most obvious move. However, if we take current form into consideration, then Mahrez may be a much better City option. Not only is Mahrez 4.7 million cheaper than KDB, but he has also only blanked once since the season restart. One of the main issues with Mahrez as an FPL asset has always been how much of a minutes risk he is, especially in the Premier League. However, due to Foden being out of favour in the City squad, Mahrez has been consistently getting at least 80 minutes for City each game week. FPL Review also has Mahrez with the second most predicted points for the next 5 game weeks, with the only person ahead of him being KDB. If you're looking to clear up some funds in your team and also hold on to Bruno for another game week, then I would recommend going for Mahrez. When KDB is on form, he's well worth owning, however he hasn't been living up to his usual form in recent game weeks and thus could be avoided. The penultimate player which we will discuss in the Game Week 23 transfer tips video is Bukayo Saka. With Odegaard receiving so much attention from FPL managers and content creators, Saka has arguably gone under the radar as an Arsenal asset. In his last 5 games, Saka has only blanked twice and is leading Arsenal for chances created so far this season. Saka also has the most goals and assists for Arsenal with 15, which is only 1 ahead of Odegaard. Data from FPL Review also further supports the decision to go for Saka ahead of Game Week 23, as it predicts Saka to score the most points over the next 5 game weeks than any other midfielder. With an ownership of only 25%, Saka could be a perfect differential replacement for Martinelli, who yet again let managers down against Everton and has also had his minutes affected by Trossard. Whilst I have been heavily focused on bringing in Odegaard ahead of Arsenal's double Game Week 23, I might go for Saka instead if he proves to be less owned than Odegaard ahead of Game Week 23. Saka is also the Arsenal player who is least likely to have his minutes affected due to the lack of competition for his spot. As we saw in the Everton game, both Martinelli and Odegaard were subbed off early while Saka played the full 90 minutes. If the expected minutes of an asset can heavily influence your decision making, then Saka may be the best bet out of him, Odegaard and Martinelli. The final player we will take a look at for this video is Perisic of Spurs. Whilst this may come as a surprise, with Spurs only being 8th for clean sheets so far this season, I do believe owning a Spurs defender over the next 3 to 5 game weeks could be a good idea given their good run of fixtures and no blank Game Week 25. In their next 3 games, Spurs face off against Leicester, West Ham and Chelsea. On paper, each of these fixtures could result in a clean sheet for Spurs due to the lack of attacking threat from the teams mentioned. If we take a look at the FPL Review clean sheet odds for Spurs, we can see that they rank in the top half of the odds for the next 5 game weeks. I feel it's important to emphasise that this pick is heavily based on the upcoming fixtures and lack of blank Game Week 25. One of the main benefits with going for Perisic is that he can provide a strong attacking threat as well as defensive returns. However, trying to predict who starts in the defensive line for Spurs is almost impossible due to Conte's constant rotation of his fullbacks. Due to this, Perisic may be a minute's risk and someone like Dyer may be a better option. That's going to do it for this week's transfer tips video. As I mentioned in the intro, I wanted to focus this video on some differential players for the upcoming game weeks rather than the usual players that we spent the last few weeks discussing. If you did find the video helpful, then please do drop it a like, subscribe to the channel and comment down below your transfer targets for game week 23. Also make sure to follow me on Twitter at fplfatherted. Thanks for watching and good luck this game week.